And we are live. Sophie Kirk is in the house.
Woo!
How are you doing, Soph?
Yeah, good.
Good?
You. Yes, good. Thank you.
Brilliant. So, for some of you who don't know Sophie, Sophie is a mental health therapist, the CEO and founder of the Melp Foundation. So, we're delighted to have her on the pod, and let's get straight into it. Sophie, tell us, if we don't know, what is the Melp Foundation?
Okay, so the Melp Foundation is a charitable organisation that's been set up specifically to help women's sports teams, sports academies, secondary schools and colleges with mental health resources, education and support services, all totally free, of course.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, you don't get that often,
So we just looked at areas of need, basically, and kind of went from there.
So what's your journey to get into mental health?
Okay.
Was that a journey from young? You wanted to be involved in that development of mental health therapy?
No, I don't think so. No, I didn't. I don't think I never knew what I wanted to do, is the answer.
I still don't know.
Who does?
We still don't know. We don't.
Just trying to work it out, yeah. So it's been a journey and a development. I guess I left school really early. So I left school really early. I was really badly behaved at school. So are you guys as well? Yeah.
This is for my benefit, yes, not everyone else's.
Yeah. I was really naughty at school. They asked me to leave, so I did. And and then I kind of went into hairdressing for a while, just because what else do you do at 15 when you've been kicked out of school? And it wasn't really ever my thing, so I got quite bored of it quite quickly. But I just kind of done bits and pieces of jobs here and there and bar work and things, but I didn't ever know what I wanted to do, and I just thought I'd work it out along the way somewhere. So I wasn't particularly stressed about it at that point. I think it was about when I was about 21, 22 maybe. I thought I might have worked it out by then, so I started to have a bit of a
I'm 40, I'm still trying to work it out.
I thought I might have done, and I kind of, my partner at the time, I remember just saying to him, I don't know what to do with my life. What should I do? And he's like, right, calm down. So we sat down, and I said my requirements basically were I wanted to work for myself, I wanted to help people, and I wanted something I could do forever, and that was that.
I mean, that's good little check.
It's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah, that was it. And I was also qualified for nothing. So and when you're qualified for nothing, everything you do you have to start from scratch. Yeah. So therefore you can do anything, because whatever you do, you're starting from the beginning. You didn't have the leeway in any area. Yeah, of course. So I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter what I do, whatever I do, I'm starting from the beginning. And we came up with a few things. Personal training was one, but I kind of thought, maybe it's not lifelong.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a shelf life to that. I don't think there is these days, to be honest. I think the older you get, you realise you probably could do that.
Yeah, I'm still getting to that yet.
Getting there.
Christmas weight, it's still Christmas weight.
Could be the thing.
Yeah. Still starting my diet. Yeah. So PT wasn't the answer.
No, massage as well. That was the thing that we looked at. But again, I know massage therapists and physios and things. So they get achy joints and achy wrists and things over time. And I was like, so I don't think that's going to last forever. And then we came up with actually acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and acupuncture.
Needles.
I hate needles.
They are very different things there.
Yeah. But they all relate to some way.
Some sort of helping distress.
People, so in some way. So kind of went down that route. We went to the uni and kind of looked around and went, fine, this looks all right, let's give this a go, And didn't really know anything about it. And then I persuaded them to let me in. Despite the fact I had GCSEs and no A levels, and they did let me in. I think they regretted that afterwards, because I was still quite anti-authority at that point. So probably did argue with everything they had to say. And, why do I have to write this essay? I don't want to. That type of thing. But anyway, I got through the degree. In the degree is when I took a really keen interest in mental health. So that was the time I kind of started looking at, and they didn't like that much at the time anyway, because they were really into musculoskeletal stuff and doing that side of things. But that was really
it's as important though than the musculoskeletal stuff and
the
muscles.
Okay, you're talking to someone who does not know what you're talking about. What is the musculoskeletal stuff?
The bones.
Okay.
Physical stuff.
Okay.
And muscles and the human anatomy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got that bit covered. Okay. Right, so you started your degree then. Was it harder going into something like that with no experience and having to do, like you say, you left school quite early?
Yeah.
Did it make you focus more, going, right, I need to kick in now and do this again?
No, I probably messed around too much.
Okay. It's party time as well.
Party time.
Yeah.
I thought it would be, but actually, so the reason it's one of the reasons I got accepted for the degree is in that particular degree, it's mostly older people, and it's mostly a second career. They don't really like bringing younger people into it because working with people in the way that you do with that job, having life experience really helps and creates empathy and creates things like that. I kind of got in on that basis because I did have bags of life experience. So I guess in between all of that, if I rewinded then, my mum left when I was like 5. So she had left. My dad was helping us grow up. My interest in mental health then came, I guess my mum's always had massive mental health issues. She's anxious and depressed and OCD, and she doesn't do well. So I've kind of had that experience. Then I was pregnant at 16. I gave birth at 17. It was a very abusive relationship, physically and mentally. So there was all of that to kind of get through and come out the other side of as well. And that created, even though I didn't have the book smarts, I definitely had probably enough life and empathy.
That can be more sometimes, like you can read everything in a book, but when you've been through it personally, and you're taking that trauma then into looking to help others, and talking from experience rather than you couldn't
reading off a page.
Yes.
It's like, it's also like, if you just read off a page, how are you meant to be able to be like, oh, I relate to you? Or other people to be like, oh, I can trust what you say. Because if you just read it off a page, it's like, how am I even meant to trust what you say?
Yeah. It's different, isn't it? I think when I kind of frame presentations I give and things like that, I always do a bit around what I call the Instagram ready shiny side, which is I have my qualifications, my degree, my experience in working with people, created the business, created the app, all of that lovely stuff. And then it's like, and I always do the flip side. The flip side actually is life. It's the reality of, here's a little bit of, my flip side. And I always talk about actually, but everybody has a flip side. And mental health is about, you're smiling.
No, I'm smiling because I can just, have picked a lot of what you're saying,
but everyone has that flip side, and that's the side where people need that mental health support and that mental health resources and education and understanding to get through those times successfully, or as successfully as possible. They're not going to not hurt, they're not going to not be painful, but it just means that you can move through them a bit easier and come out the other side a little bit quicker.
I think we're living in a society now, this is my opinion, where mental health is prevalent than ever in everything. It took quite a bit of time for men's mental health to catch up with society. There's still a lot of men that don't open up, don't talk, or feel there's a stigma attached to it. But I feel the last 5 years that's been broken quite heavily, with celebrities, footballers coming out saying, do you know what, I'm struggling. And I think that breaks the stigma a little bit. But whenever, you speak to people now, in certain industries, mental health is, especially on this pod alone, whether it be injury recovery, performance play, what you're struggling with, it all comes back to mental health at one point or another.
So anything that affects your life is going to affect your mental health and the way you're thinking or the way you're moving through something.
A lot of people are scared to talk about it as well. It's not doing this podcast and talking about mental health. It's like, oh, a lot of people talk about it, but a lot of people don't.
No, but it's funny because we spoke about this earlier. When you're asking someone how is mental health, it's so easy to go, oh yeah, it's fine. Because for the person asking, sometimes it's what they want to hear. Oh, I haven't got to do anything, that's fine, I can just brush that one along and move on.
Because not a lot of people will ask a second time. They hear, oh yeah, I'm good. Okay, let's just carry on with life. And then it goes, no, are you actually okay? And then it unleashes whatever's you're holding in.
So if we're going to strip that back, then what does mental health cover? Is it depression, anxiety? In a nutshell, tell us what mental health is. What do you see it as from someone in there? Because if you're about mental health, you're talking to me like someone who's upset, depressed, doesn't want to go out, overthinking, anxiety, ADHD. That's what I see it as, but you might see it different in yourself. So from a professional point of view.
I see it as any emotion really, and because every emotion has the ability to spiral into something bigger. So if you can have an anxious moment, and that's left untreated or unresolved, and then the same thing happens again, and you get anxious again about it, and over time that starts building, and before you know it, you've got an anxiety condition over this building up.
I feel like this is an intervention
of anxious moments. So you have to get it in that time. You know, when you get the anxious moment, if someone knew what to do about that then they don't, it doesn't build up. But the issue is we're not taught at school. That's why I love working with schools so much and things. We're not taught this at school as standard, and I think emotional education is as important as academic education.
100 million percent.
So I'm 40. I'm not going to ask how old you are. I'm 40. I left school in 2001. I know I don't look 40, I look 30. I know, I get that. But we never did mental health at school.
No.
Never touched on it. It wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even spoke about at all.
No.
Algebra, we did algebra and the Pythagoras theorem, right?
Yeah.
That's helped me so much in my life right now. Jesus. But mental health, nothing at all. So when does that become a thing now in schools? Is it a new thing? Is it since COVID?
Yeah.
How has mental health and you and yourself go into schools? How has that changed the curriculum moving forward?
So the curriculum does do PHSE, which covers a range of topics, and one of the topics is mental health. So if you can imagine, they probably only get a handful of lessons on something mental health related.
It's like,
a year.
we've done this topic, right, move on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's barely anything.
So often I talk to schools and they go, we do PHSE, and I'm like, it's not enough.
No.
So having that conversation is really key, and it has changed. I'm similar age to you, so
30,
that's it. So definitely didn't have anything on my age. My eldest daughter was 23, so actually my first interest in this area of schools was when she was doing her GCSEs and her exams. At that age, her and her friends were all very anxious and very stressed, and it became apparent to me that although this pressure was putting on them, the school was doing absolutely nothing to take it off or tell them. And I would talk to them about things that they could do, and they'd look at me like an alien, like they'd never heard it before. And I thought, well, this isn't right. Like, how is it that these kids are put under so much pressure yet they're just expected to get on with it and no one's telling them how to deal with it? And then I thought, and at that time I remember I spoke to some therapists I know, but it's been quite a journey into schools, to be honest, and working out the best way to work with them. I've tried it in a business model that doesn't work because they've got money. I've worked pro bono with them for a long time, and then finding the foundation was a way that we can scale it rather than just me working for free sometimes, into a more sustainable model and help them.
And for them to believe in it as well, and to be like, okay, I actually want to teach this. Whereas sometimes they're just like, just hand out a couple worksheets, and it's like, copy down what's on the board, and it's like, you don't learn or be able to see the signs or anything like that. And I think
that the fundamental issues around schools are, what we're doing from my perspective as well, sometimes is putting a band-aid on things. Because we're teaching essential life tools and giving them the tools and helping them, but they're stuck in an environment that for a lot of kids is not helpful. And then of course we get a lot of more mental health issues. And I've definitely spoken to young people that I thought I had depression, and then I left school and I found out I didn't. It was just school. But it's like it's the environment. When plants are dying, then what do we change? The environment. But with young people, we keep going, what's wrong with young people? And it's a blame thing for them. And it's like, well, it's not
too much social media.
Is it easy to label? Like you just touched on depression there. Oh, it's depression. Is it easy just to go, it's depression, there's medication, move on? Not
to look at the root cause. Social media is a massive thing.
At school, it's TikTok now, Instagram. Everyone's on it. And all the kids are on it. And when you were probably at school, we had the yogurt cup talking through that. We had chalkboards to draw photos because we couldn't send them. 80. I mean, when you were probably young at school, you have an issue at school, but you don't go home and then
I've got an issue now.
But then you don't carry it on
We used to
social
say-
media.
Yeah,
But now it's like you have an issue at school, and then it carries on social media.
if you're being
and
bullied at school,
yeah, this
Yeah.
is
you
what
could
I'm
turn
saying.
off. You could shut off on a Friday, and you'd have the weekend off.
Yeah, and then it's
Now
just
it's on your phone.
yeah, and that's where a lot happens
Yeah.
from going to school,
And it's
then
not
it just carries
regulated.
on. Yeah.
It's not, and that is a massive issue. Of course, it is. The young minds aren't able to cope with it either.
No.
So that is.
So you mentioned that we talk about that while we're here now. Social media.
Yeah.
There has this image, this social media image, where the photo you see
Yeah.
is I want to be like that person. Whether it be body image,
Mhm.
how many likes have I got? How many
Yeah.
views have I got?
Yeah.
That then becomes a self-esteem
Competition
issue,
as
a
well.
competitive
Yeah.
issue in themselves. That everyone's got to be.
Yeah.
And not until you get older do you realise, oh yeah, I don't need to do that. Right?
Yeah. I think, but it's still, I mean, but even if you look at my social media, I mean, I don't really put much personal on there, to be honest, but it just is work stuff and it looks all very shiny and happy. But like, sometimes I'm knackered and I'm working like 7 days a week and I'm exhausted and I'm broken, and that's not on there, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I think we're all kind of, and I'm guilty of it, but
So are we.
I also don't feel like I want to share with the world everything. So, and that's, I think, okay as well. But unfortunately, the things that people are compelled to share is the good stuff, because they're like,
glim and the
this is
glamour
amazing,
and the-
share it.
Yeah.
And it's normal behaviour, and I don't think there's malicious in it, but I think it,
Self-preservation,
there's perspectives that kids don't have. That's not reality of.
It's weird because when you're a kid, all you want to do is grow up quick, and now you're an adult, you think, oh, it's a trap, don't be doing that.
A kid asked me yesterday, actually, I was in the changing rooms at the gym, there was a little tiny girl there, she goes, "Are you an adult?" And I was like, "Well, I guess so."
I'm classed as one, but
guess so.
depends who you're asking.
Yeah, it depends on, I
Yeah.
guess so. I said, but it's really boring, like I wouldn't.
Yeah, we have that conversation a lot. I'll do
Yeah.
things and I'll go, I'm supposed to be 40 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't act like it.
Yeah. So you've done your degree. How have you got on to make your own foundation in Melp? How did that come about? Because that's a big thing in itself.
Yeah, so again, that's been a bit of a journey through. So I'd done my degree, I started out in private practice, just treating people, actually all sorts of people. I specialised in mental health, but like when you start out in anything, like anyone that wants to come really is the thing. And actually I actually at the time, and it was many years ago, done a Groupon offer at the time, and I saw all sorts of people. Didn't make any money, but I saw all sorts of people, which was really good actually for just churn and like development and things like that. So it was a really good thing. But what I noticed when I was in private practice, and I still am only once a week, was that thing was happening where things would spiral out of control. So, and it would take many years. So say over 4 or 5 years, people would be telling me their story, and it'd be like, it started at this and then this, and it'd be like, okay, all of this was avoidable. All this pain and misery was avoidable if we just told you to do one simple thing here, And that's where I was like, this isn't okay. Like, why do people not know what to do? And it's causing so much pain. And it's so simple at the beginning, but it's not now. Now it's complex. It's going to take us some time to get over this. But and that's where I got really passionate about it. And then the school things with my daughter as well came up, and that kind of developed into like something that I wanted to progress more into. And I had a clinic. So I had a clinic in Farnham. So I opened a clinic there where I'd rent out rooms and things, and then I'd work there as well. And I had all this stuff in my mind in the background, but because I was doing that, it's like, can't do everything at once. So when COVID happened, the clinic closed. So
We'll be coming on to COVID later on. We want to ask you about it,
Cool. The clinic closed, and I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. I've got all my bills to pay, no way of paying them. So one of the things I'd done at that point was get all the therapists from the clinic to do online stuff. And they were doing online stuff, and some of the feedback from that was that actually people didn't want it online live with them.
This is what I was thinking.
You're touching the nerve. Danny's got this. Go on, Danny.
No, I'm just saying, like, do people enjoy more online, or do they enjoy it more in person? Because I know I've done online before, and I'm like, there's not that human connection, and it's so hard to build a relationship with a therapist and try and be like there in the moment when you've got everything around you behind the screen and everything. And I'm like, online is all right, but I think you have to do in person if you really want to have that proper connection. So when you said online, I was like, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I guess that hand was forced online at that time.
Because of COVID, yeah.
Because of COVID,
a little bit.
But we still do a lot online. The online versus in-person thing, I think...
Is that for lifestyle as well, to fit around people who just
it can.
want to come on?
Yeah.
Have someone to talk to, but they're not to drive and...
Yeah. It's personal preference.
No,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is that people will always want in-person therapy and people will always want online therapy.
But it's not always free.
But
it's not always free.
No,
to have in
it's
person,
not. No,
yeah.
it can be expensive as well. So with the app, one of the driving points as well has always been affordable, accessible mental health support. Because not everyone can afford a therapist, and that will always be the case. So the app has been part of that. And the online stuff is part of that. But yes, in an ideal world, everyone would have a therapist. And also you have to look at
time and everything.
it's time, and also some people don't want to talk. They don't want to, and that's got to be okay. And I always say, look, we want people to talk, yes, and we're always saying, please talk to people. But actually, if people don't want to, and they won't, and you can't force them, how about we give them something else that they can use, rather than just going, oh, well, if you don't do it how we want you to do it, you can't do it at all. That's not acceptable. So we go, okay, here's a tool to use, and that's for some people is enough, and for others it's a bridge. They start to learn about themselves, they start to feel comfortable, and then they go, oh, maybe I can talk to someone now, and we go.
So what is the app?
So the app.
We'll share that as well.
We'll share.
Yeah. So the app came out of COVID. So those classes that we put out, and everyone then wanted it not live. They wanted it on their own schedule when they wanted it to be available. And it's like, great, we'll just record all the stuff and we'll put it on the website. And then I thought, let's put it in an app. So then I went on this great journey of developing an app, which was just horrific, but it was horrific and fun. So it's not fair to say it's horrific. And it kept me busy through COVID. And my good friend Jade, who'd done all the filming for it, kept her busy through COVID as well. Because actually filming was one of the few things you could do. So and we used studio, so that studio, the clinic, so that didn't go to waste at the time. So that was good. And so the premise was just to get those videos on it for people initially. But actually it's become one of our core tools, particularly for schools, for teenagers that don't want to talk to people sometimes. We've also got like an emotional support bot on it now. So one step further away from actual therapy, but one step closer to people that maybe are very insecure about speaking or feel judged or can't for some reason have that conversation. So another thing I've done along my years is I've done some volunteering for a couple of years with Samaritans. So I worked on their phone lines, but I also worked on their online chat. And so when I was there as well, it's enlightening and it helps you have those difficult conversations around a topic that's really difficult for most people to talk about, which is fine. I know that you openly.
Yeah, I've been through a couple of bits and pieces. But the funny thing is, it's funny you mentioned the Samaritans. I've spoken to them a couple of times, and it's one of those where, in my opinion, when I've been there, you get that all of a sudden to go, I need to speak to someone right here, right now. Yeah. And if I don't, that could pass, and I might not speak for 6 months.
Yes.
It's that absolute. You're thinking straight. Just go, I'm gonna do it now. Yeah. And you start talking, and suddenly you go, God, I can do it. Then you might then just we speak about certain things. I open up, I close up again. Yeah. It's in that moment that help right there, and then like the crisis team with working myself, and it's that moment you could just ring them 24/7 and go, I need to speak now.
Yes. Yeah, that's also really important. And again, like the bot on the app is that thing as well. And the reason, I guess, so when I was at the Samaritans as well, they've done an online chat, and mostly that's young people on the online chat, because that's how they do it, right? So that's why then I knew having a bot was actually important, because it gives you that 24-hour thing. It gives you that connection to people that otherwise won't connect.
And a development in technology for mental health.
Yeah. So it's emotional support. So we're not claiming it takes over therapy or it's anything like that. It's just literally there. If you need to talk at that time of night, and or you don't want to call the Samaritans, or you don't. It's just there for teenagers if they need it at any time, basically.
And just to have that, like letting people know that it is there at any time, where
it's a comfort.
Yeah, exactly. It's a comfort.
Yeah. So it's funny because we had quite a few questions come in. What we won't normally say, we've had a question from so and so come in. We won't name these people in case it's going to be confidential. But one of the questions we have come in is, have you noticed a massive increase in young people looking for support?
Yes, I think over the last few years, yeah, there has been. They're much more comfortable talking about it, I guess, than we ever were.
Is that because of the way society is now, where it is approachable to talk to? If you're a young teenager boy, it's not suck it up and just be a man. It's no, you know what, you can talk about it. Why do you have to be a man about things? Talk to people.
Yeah, I think it's growing, and I think the more it grows, the better. But it needs to grow with understanding. And the conflicts come where there's a lack of understanding, which means you've got maybe some older people, parents or whatever, saying, oh, they're just using mental health as an excuse for everything. And there may be some of that going on, who knows? There's always some of that going on, but mostly not. But it's a lack of understanding that when they say mental health, it doesn't necessarily mean they think there's something catastrophic wrong with them. It just means at that moment they don't know how to cope with these feelings that they're having. And then all you have to do is go and help them cope with the feelings that they're having, not go, oh my God, they've got an anxiety condition, they've got depression. That level of reaction doesn't help, or the reaction of, oh, you're just making it up, or you're just trying to get off. That doesn't help. Like there's a disconnect between the older generations and the younger generations, and I think teachers as well. I think some are really good, and some just don't have any empathy or understanding around it, and that can create so much damage for, again, an issue that could have been very easily dealt with, and then becomes a massive thing.
That's why it's so important for people to know the tools.
Yeah.
Because if people have the tools to help people, then it's not like what do we do to help? Like they make it into such a big scenario, and it's like, well, if you know the tools, it could be gone in any situation, any which way, and it's like, I think everyone should just know the tools that could help a small situation before it turns into a big one.
This is why it's great. We'll move on to it in the second half, but you're coming to work with sports teams, football teams as well, because I manage Ash United, and you get players that have got a lot going on. So for us as a manager to learn the tools to be able to help them is only going to be beneficial moving forward.
Yes, and yes, we focus a lot on the academies and the younger groups, and that's boys and girls, and then women. And the reason for that is we may look at men at a later date, but overall there's more funding in men's sport than there is in women's. So they're more likely to get the support that they need than the women are. So therefore we're trying to go, okay, we need to, plug the holes where they're actually needed. Not to say that men don't need support, but actually there might be budget available in a lot of teams for that to happen. And
just going back to something you said about depression and medication, everything.
Yeah.
So from personal experiences, if ever I've struggled with things, you got the doctors, and listen, I'm sure they all try their best. It's always been a case of, there's some tablets, take them for 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be fine. Or kind of like that.
Let us know how you're doing.
Let us know how you're doing. We'll give you 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's never been the way. And then I've then gone on to self-medicate in different areas. And I know a lot of people that also still self-medicate. Have you found that as a thing with mental health? People turn to substances, drink, because not that it helps them, but not to feel high, not to feel low, but to feel nothing at all. How have you found self-medication in the world of mental health?
So it's a massive thing, isn't it? And it's massive in men. It's much more prevalent in men. Not that it doesn't happen to women, it does, but women are more likely to reach out than men are. Men are more likely to reach for a bottle or a substance. And that is one of the challenges with it. So previous to the foundation, I've also got a business side of things, and that we've looked a lot at men's mental health and construction industry and male heavy industry is what we kind of worked in. So they have a lot of issues around that in those industries. And it is a numbing out thing, and there's so many levels to that issue. It's economic, it's social, it's mental, it's all of those things rolled into one, creating a lovely, can I say, shitstorm for
it's funny because
people.
Exactly that. From experience with people and lads and everything, there was this culture of go out, have a few drinks, have a bit of something else, and it's a social thing, and you forgot about your problems.
Yeah.
Fast forward 5 months, then you're not going out. You're then doing what you were doing out. You're then doing at home.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, then you don't want to go out. You want to sit indoors and self-medicate.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a whole world of destruction and spiraling that then you can't get out of. Then you start going into the paranoia, the depression, and then before you know it, you're in a whole world of pain.
Yeah. So when we talk to young people, this is really important to mention, is about the habit loop. We talk to them about a lot, because I do, because basically what's happened is you're sad, depressed, not to be depressed, a bit sad, a bit anxious, a bit whatever, not feeling good. So you're stressed, you've had a bad week, you've had a stressful week, so you let off steam with the drugs and the alcohol. Your brain is designed to keep you happy and safe, so it thinks that when you take those drugs and when you drink, it takes away that pain. You're
borrowing tomorrow's happiness.
You're happy. So your brain takes it as a tick. Your brain goes, oh, tick. Next time he's stressed, I'm going to send a message to him to go and take more drugs because that helped last time. Your brain, that level of your brain, that subconscious, doesn't have the foresight and the logic of that actually long term this isn't good for me. And by the time you've caught up, you're already in that negative cycle and it's too late. And it's important to make kids aware of this. We do it around habit building anyway, because actually it's an important part to understand. And I just always mention that actually it's what happens with drugs and alcohol as well. So you need to be aware of that, or smoking, or, all of those sorts of things. And
that industry is open to such a young age of kids. Yeah. Smoking, vaping, drink, drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So easily
accessible.
So it's awful. It's cultural. It's ingrained in our societies. Unfortunately, it's very normalised.
It's the unhidden secret.
I was young once too.
Yeah, listen.
And I've got a 23-year-old. Not that long ago. I do remember what goes on, and it's really sad. And one of our other directors, and my other half actually as well, who is in recovery as well. So he's 6 years in. And it's a very similar story to you as well. And also I've got another friend who's in recovery, who's a couple of years in, and same. It's just out there, and I'm really happy people are finding their routes to recovery. But the point of what we do in schools, and the point of what we try and get young people is to stop
prevention is better than
happening. Because how miserable did that make you? I mean, would you rather not have had that part of your life, right?
So
we can avoid it.
Yeah.
And you can't avoid everything, but I think we could do a better job at avoiding a lot more.
Yeah. Start at a young age.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. If you teach it from a young age, you've got half a chance then of that alone. So obviously you go into schools, you work with kids in schools. What is it you do with the kids in schools with regards to, is it certain ages you go into? Is it colleges as well?
Yeah.
Because we spoke about this earlier. Kids going into then coming to colleges, then trying to work out what they've got to do.
Yeah.
That is a whole mess in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still trying to work
out. And then at
college, make a decision.
At college, you only have 2 years, and then suddenly you're out of college, and it's like, it's not even 2 years. It's less than 24 months. You're there, and then suddenly you're just out there in the adult world, and you're like, what?
But in the adult world, you then go to university, straight away, there's 20 grand of debt. There's 20 grand of debt that you're going to be lumped with, right? Because you want to go and try and work for your life.
You want to do something good.
So we're going to give you that 20 grand debt. Crack on and see how you get on with that. You're starting an uphill battle in yourself.
Yeah, you have to be really sure that that's going to equate to something, don't you?
Yeah,
really. Otherwise, it's just. But no, we do work with schools. We work with secondary schools and colleges and universities. We don't currently work with little ones, but I'm looking at stuff at the moment so that we can. It's because the processes that we bring in wouldn't be age appropriate. So our education programs at the moment wouldn't harm the kids, but they're not age appropriate.
But they can't understand it.
You're letting kids be kids.
Yeah. And then we've got our app, of course, which again isn't age appropriate for little kids. We're looking at the moment trying to get some journals and things and some teacher training. I think that will be maybe a way forward to help that, so we can just get in there a little bit younger as well. But at the moment.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. Join us for part 2. We're going to go on to touch on COVID with mental health, and we're going to talk about what Sophie does with sports teams and her work just starting with Aldershot. So join us in part 2. Well, welcome back to part 2, people. So we're going to start speaking about mental health and sport and what Sophie does with women in sport. So, Sophie, I know you started doing something with Aldershot Town women's team.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how you got involved in women's football, women's sport in general.
Okay, so I'll start with how I got involved because it was quite by accident. So I used to play football when I was a girl, say till I got 14.
Still play now?
I do not. No, I stopped.
We're looking for
Yeah,
players. We're going to sign you up.
I did think, but and then I looked at my nails and I was like, do I stick with these or work? But
You fit in with the players we got. Yeah, 100%.
But no, I started when I was 14, which is the classic age for girls to stop playing, isn't it? But I used to play for a girls' team, and then my dad was the coach, and so that was way back then. And then I would go to the gym, exercise, all that sort of stuff. It's part of my life. But actually, it came about by chance. I was in Watford Stadium at a networking thing for the business side of things at the time, and the general manager for the women's team was there. Helen, it's lovely, and she just said, if there's any of the businesses in the room that can help the women's team, I'd be really, really grateful. And I thought, okay, fine. So I went up to her afterwards and I said, hey, I think we can help the women's team if you'd like us to help. She's like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do it. So that's how it started, really. And then I started learning more about the challenges within women's sports and what the girls have to do to they work full time, they train multiple times a week, and then they play at the weekend, and they got kids, and I'm like, this is just insane.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. We think about this all the time.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And they don't have, and they just don't have the support and the care that they need either. So from there really, just thought, actually, let's delve into this a bit more, and let's go into this a bit further. And so I started to, and it was, we worked with them, and then we worked with Her Game 2 as well. So Her Game 2, who are, you know them.
Yeah.
So they're really lovely as well. So we look after all their ambassadors because, my God, they part with a load of rubbish, don't they?
Everything they go through.
Yeah. So we look after them, and then I was just sat down. It was last year, and when at the same time I was looking at the schools, I was looking at the women's sports, and I was like, neither of these people pay me. There's a lot of free work going on here, which I don't mind. But is my passion here, or is it in the business side of things? And the business side of things, I'm kind of starting up again at the moment. But I went, do you know what? I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to work in schools. I'm passionate about it. I want to work in women's sports. I'm going to have to find a way to make this work financially. So I started looking at grant funding and things like that. Grant funding is not available for limited companies, which is fair enough because it's all profit making and everything.
Yeah.
So that's when I went, fine, we'll just set up the foundation. And it's a COC, so it's all not for profit and everything like that. And then we can authentically fund and authentically fundraise and grant fund and all the rest of it for all of these projects that we need to do to help women's sports and to help schools and young people. And that was the lead into it, really. And then it's kind of expanded from there. So most recently,
Aldershot Town Women's, who've just started up this season and everything.
Yeah.
So what, I know you just started commenting, what challenges or barriers have you noticed with women's sports football? Like you say, you touched on having kids full time and you've got single parents and everything, you're still going to play, looking for that outlet.
Yeah.
What have you come across in your so far that you can just see the biggest barriers?
Biggest barriers to women coming into sports. Goodness, there's so many, isn't there? It's the money, isn't it? Like, they're not paid, so they can't. So they have to have all these other elements of their lives running still and working full time, and it's just that is the biggest barrier. And also, I guess sexism is the biggest barrier. That's huge, and for teenage girls, and the mental health implications of sexism and misogyny and all of that. I mean, don't get me started on that. We'll be here all day. But
that's a number two.
That's
another one. Even like you say, you just talk about there, you touched on it. I know a lot of clubs that the men's team they play for free, and the women's team have to pay £250, £300 subs to play.
It's rubbish.
Now you can look at it. You could spin it and say, well, some men's teams are bringing some money for the gate, but if we're trying to keep it on a level playing field. Some women are paying £300-400 to sign on to play, which is you've either got to pay it up front or you've got to pay it in 2 lumps. That's a lot of money to pay out like that in one go. And that's the changes that we're looking to introduce at a lot of clubs. I'd like to think will be introduced in a lot of clubs around here to go. This is make it accessible for everyone. You know,
if you put a bit of effort in, you can get it funded.
Yeah.
Like it's just actually you going out there as you would, getting those sponsors and getting. People do want to be involved in women's teams. So I think Aldershot have done it okay from the conversations I've had with them. Like funding the women's team has been okay for them.
Yeah.
So if they can, I don't see why other people can't.
Yeah, perfect. That's what we're trying to do. Like you say, you've got Farnborough, all these teams now starting women's teams. It's especially with football. We're in a golden age where women's football is becoming big. So if people do want to jump on board with that, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're dealing with females in sport and the mental health side of that.
Yeah.
I know Danny was quite heavily involved with mental health with injury recovery. Do you want to touch on how your mental health was affected with injuries? Because there's many people listening to this now who are going for injuries. We've had a lot of ACL injuries coming on. How was it for you dealing with the mental health side of it? I know we touched on it in the previous pod, but now we've got a professional in the room.
Free therapy.
Take your time.
Well, I think it built over time. It's like anything, it just builds and builds and builds. And for years, it was like not having the answers to why I was injured, and then it gets frustrating, and it's like so much, and then you find out what is happening and why it's happening. Then you're like, the process restarts of everything building, and then the time to surgery and all of that, and then I think the hardest part was being like, I'll be okay. I told myself that many a time. I'd be like, I'm going to be out for a couple of weeks. It's going to deal with that, and then it wasn't, and it's sort of like I made myself believe I was going to be fine, and no one really told me like what was going to happen or what I could potentially feel like. And then when it hit me, I was like, "Ooh, okay."
You had some dark days, didn't you?
Oh yes, yeah, I did. And then the next thing is like, who do you turn to? Who do you reach out to? And it's like, you can reach out to family, but then at the same time, do you really want to reach out to family and just be like, this is what I'm going through? Because no one really wants to be like, this is what I'm going through, and put it. And you want to speak to someone that's not family related. So
is it harder to speak to a family member or a therapist? Because you made a point earlier on, and this is what we speak to Sophie about. When you walk into a therapy session, you said you've got to trust someone straight away.
I was like, you just got to trust someone on a random Tuesday. And be like,
how do you break the barriers down, Sophie? Because someone coming in, not knowing you, say a sports one and going, do you know what, I'm going to help you, but at the moment I need to get you to talk or to allow you to open up with the tools you say. It's about breaking those barriers down, right? For someone like Danny coming in for the first time when you're doing face-to-face therapy.
Also, like, a lot of people see therapy and it's this big scary thing, and it's like, you just get thrown in at the deep end, and it's like, right, you start here, you start with all the heavy stuff first session. I think a lot of people think that, but doing it myself, and I'm like, oh, actually, you don't start with all the heavy stuff. You don't even start with the stuff on the first session. No, you just go in and you just start having a conversation. It could be about anything, and that's how you build down the barriers, because then you get that connection with whoever you have therapy with. So.
Is that how you do it, so? Someone's sitting there now going, do you know what? I want some therapy, but I don't know what I'm going to expect when I walk through the door. How would you start the process?
So I will practice quite differently to traditional therapists in this way, because I studied cognitive behavioural therapy, but I also studied traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncturist. So I'm looking for quite different things when people come through my room, into my room. So I do ask more direct questions. I don't push for answers, but I'm also quite well qualified and trained to look for answers that people aren't giving me. Okay, so there's lots of underlying answers that people aren't going to be giving me, that I can see, that I can feel,
work around
the
answer that you want, without going straight.
But
That's reading people, is it?
Reading people, but then also sometimes saying, and one of the things, you were saying about asking twice, if you're another good thing to do is ask the difficult question. Like, if you know there's something going on in their lives, don't skirt around it. and ask deeper questions about it. Okay,
Yeah.
so you know, if you've got a dad that's unwell, how's your dad? Okay, and how do you feel about that? And what is that? You know, how's that looking in your day-to-day life?
It's like you said earlier, like it is going to be painful to ask the questions,
Yeah.
but sometimes that you do have to ask the questions.
You have to ask,
and it is going to be painful, but it's the only way to start unloading everything and
remove the elephant from the room as well. Like we all know what's going on in people's lives, and sometimes we do know, and it's just asking those difficult questions. And talking about the tough stuff, but I mean, I would ask some direct questions and some and some I wouldn't. But you know, and you know, I work with the systems a lot as well, and for me, the systems tell you a lot about what's going on emotionally as well. So I would know, you know, if you're getting headaches, for example, where about in the head it is and how it feels and when that happens, how that might be impacting your emotional health as well. So I might ask physical based questions that I know then are connected to certain systems.
That's mental.
The body.
I used to get so many bad headaches doing it, like with build up with all the anxiety and everything, and it's like, then I was like, got to go and get my eyes tested, all of that sort of stuff, and it's crazy how everything is linked. It just all links back to, could be a simple problem with mental health or something like that, and it just everything create physical problems as well, and like, what is going on?
So I had this patient, one patient once who, and this is the link between like physical and emotional, is so strong. Like I say, I would see anybody, they're not always coming in for mental health issues, but sometimes the physical issues really point to a mental health issue. And then he had this bad shoulder, and he was like, I've seen every physio, every chiropractor, no one can. I've had it for 4 years, no one can fix his shoulder. And I was like, what happened? Like, was there an injury? What happened? And he was like, nothing. Like, it just started hurting one day. I was like, okay, that doesn't happen. But something happened. Okay, so I'm thinking something happened. But where it was on a point that I know is really relevant for grief. So I'm like, okay, so what was happening in your life 4 years ago? Turns out, like,
my ribs. My ribs just give me a shiver.
It turned out 4 years ago are you okay?
Yeah, no, I broke my ribs go-kart, and then I just got a shiver. Oh, God, about your grief.
Sorry. It turns out 4 years ago, his wife left him, but took his kids with her and moved to a different country, and he hadn't seen them since.
No, serious.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so grief. So grief isn't always someone dying, it's a loss of
something in your life.
That's a pretty big loss. And I was like, okay, so, but at that point he's a man, so I'm not telling him what I'm treating him for it. I'm just going, okay, fine. I'm taking notes and making, and then I just treat him for grief, and put some needles around the shoulder, so I think that's what it's for, and it goes away.
So this is crazy though, even just like that, and knowing, because maybe some therapists don't know that.
Different techniques.
Different,
you can clock onto that and be like, let's go into that method, and then
so it's like, but with it, I guess with injuries there's a reason for if there's pain without injury, there's more we've got to explore that, because like that doesn't, there is something there, we've got to work out what it is.
One of the biggest words I hear a lot linked to mental health is dopamine. The quick fix dopamines, the longer term dopamines. For people who don't know, what is a dopamine effect? How can that change your mental health?
Okay, so I'm not a neuroscientist, so this isn't my area of specialities. But it's hormonal. It's a hormonal imbalances. So you've got all sorts of different hormones within your body and within your brain, and dopamine being one of them, which is your happy hormone, and kind of calming hormone. But then you've also got like your cortisols, which is going to be your stress hormones and things like that. And I guess the idea is you want less cortisol and more dopamine.
And if it's looking for that quick fix dopamine, which then we touched on earlier on, is the false effect of happiness.
That's the habit that we get stuck in. And that happens with drugs and alcohol, but it also happens with sugar, and it also happens food, sugar, and all of those things that give us that quick happy fix. That anything that makes us feel good instantly is usually bad for us in reality. And the reason that I talk about it as well is also because we do a lot around mental fitness and building good habits for mental fitness, which isn't easy, because actually everything that is good for your well-being and good for your mental fitness takes time to work. So your brain gives up before it starts to work. Because your brain's going, hang on, this didn't, where's my quick fix? Where's my happy? Don't do that, because that's, and there's a few other things that happen, but that's one of the things that happen. So we have to be aware of that when we're trying to create a new habit, like journaling or meditation or getting up early or exercise. Even exercise, when people say that you get this big dopamine hit with exercise, like, yeah, you do. But the first time you do it, if you haven't ever done it or you haven't done it for a while, then what you're probably going to feel is exhaustion, pain, misery. And
I don't get the dopamine. I get the opposite from that.
Yeah, right.
And also, like, doing the exercise stuff is like, I don't see a result straight away.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, again, it takes time. So it's like, if anything, just stick with it. Don't listen to your brain at that point telling you to give up, because also, your brain's got all those negative thoughts as well, negative things it's saying to you, and
so easy to listen to them as well.
What's the point of all this?
Not
doing anything. And it's like, no, it's not. You've got to practice. It's not easy.
So you touched on sugar. Sugar being sugar being a thing.
Yeah.
Is diet a big effect on mental health?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
In what way? So loads of takeaways aren't good for you?
No.
Maybe
it's
like
not what I wanted to hear. Okay.
Maybe like an apple.
Yeah.
Grape.
Yeah.
I love a McDonald's though,
So it's not saying cut it all out, but not having a McDonald's constantly.
Yeah.
You want to have balance in.
Yeah, Burger King.
Yeah.
In the middle. So obviously sugar being a big thing at the moment, the sugar tax, the ban on advertising sugar products before 9, so kids can't see it.
Yeah.
Things like kids with the energy drinks.
Oh, awful.
When I used to work at a youth club, they would come in. You knew which child was on an energy drink before they come in. Oh my God. They would bounce off. It's like children's cocaine.
Yeah.
They would bounce off the walls. Okay. And again, they're being so readily available.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got to be over 16, 18 to buy them. But
but enough license.
no, I know. You can
Same
get
with
them
alcohol, isn't
anytime.
it?
Yeah. So again, with the right balance of mental health, you need the right balance of diet, life.
Kids, teenagers tend to like the diet approach first, because it's something that I think that they can really grasp hold of and tangible. We have recipes on the app that they always really like.
Really?
So we have recipes on a nutritional what's she? Nutrition health expert or something.
Yeah.
But she's on there talking about the link between certain foods and ingredients and nutrition with the brain and how it affects it and things. So then we've got like recipes that you can then follow that have certain benefits in it because they've got those ingredients, and it's just it's really interesting. It's a really quick, easy thing that kids can, I think, take control of. And go, actually, I can cook that meal myself, and I can do that, and it's probably a bit more of a dopamine hit and a quick win than it is.
Is there recipes on there for fussy eaters?
Yeah, I'm not. I am a fussy eater. This isn't about me. This is about the people. It's not talking about me.
I'm sure there's something on there. There's some healthy pizzas on there.
Oh, I don't eat pizza. Is there any? No, I've never had a pizza in my life.
No.
I don't like cheese or pasta or anything like that. I do like chocolate. I had an Easter egg earlier on. Oh, it was so nice, a thick one as well.
Dark chocolate, 85% and plus is good.
Is dark chocolate good for you?
Yeah, dark chocolate, 85%.
How much of that can I eat a day?
I've still got loads.
Oh.
So sometimes when
I'm sure you'd hate it as well, because you're like, it's not dairy milk.
No, it's got to be, I think, above 85%.
Okay.
And again, nutrition isn't like my strong point,
yeah.
but I know bits about it, and in Chinese medicine, it's really relevant compared to your mental health. Yeah.
I know. I have the eating habits of a 5-year-old. Nuggets and smileys and everything.
Can't let everything touch.
No, it's not. It's not as bad as that. Cut that. So we did have a few questions come in. One of the ones that come in that I was really intrigued about was, obviously you mentioned it earlier about COVID. How prevalent was mental health and COVID? And I think everyone's got a story themselves, which was a hard time for them.
Yeah.
Did you see a massive influx because people are spending more time at home with their families and it causes arguments, or was it just people financially? What was COVID like for yourself and work? And
So for me, the clinic was closed, so that was a massive financial issue, and continued to be for quite some time.
But that's again, that's a worry on yourself. As much as you're helping people, you've now got that to deal with.
Yeah, I kind of just move through things. Just take one step at a time.
Okay.
No, I do get stressed and things do get to me, but I think the more experience I have like that, so I lost a business in that, and there was a lot of money, and I come from a accounting sector, so I didn't come by that money easily. So it did bring its stresses for me, but out of it as well, we grew something else, and that brings stresses as well. But life is stressful, and I just feel like, you just got, if it wasn't that stress, it'd be something else. So we just kind of move forward and keep going one step forward. So COVID for me was quite a stressful time, and I had young child at home as well. And I was a key worker, but I didn't know until like the third lockdown. And I was like, oh man, you can go back to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not my problem now.
But we made it work, and as many people did. But what I did see, mental health wise, I think it's substance abuse went up, didn't it?
That was when I was at my worst.
Was it?
6 months on furlough.
Yeah.
Nothing to do. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That happened to a lot of people as well. Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of reach for the bottle or substances of any sort, food. People eating too much and diets going out the window, and exercise as well. Well, some people increase exercise, didn't they? Of course, because they had Joe Wicks, but other people didn't.
I forgot about that.
I did not do that.
Yeah, no. The fact the gym being shut was a blessing for me. I was like,
I don't know.
Great shut. Stay in alive.
COVID was mental.
Yeah.
So I can't even believe it happened.
But there's so many elements to it that were so flawed and wrong, and the way it was dealt with was always going to be catastrophic.
We spoke about this at someone the other day, that if they were to happen again, and there's another lockdown, I don't know if people would abide to it, like from what they've seen coming out from the government.
Yeah, and how are they going to stop everyone?
Yeah.
They're like, we've had 3.
Yeah.
We've done that.
Yeah,
we've been there, done that.
We're not doing it again.
Bored of that now.
Yeah.
So people have suffered a lot, and young people have suffered a lot.
Again, we touched this with someone coming through schools, building up to the exams. All of a sudden, there's no exams, no schools, no leaving prom, no saying goodbye to their peers. No. Just gone. That whole taken away from them.
Plus, mentally and emotionally, brain development wise, and emotional development wise, particularly teenagers need to be around their peers.
Yeah.
It's not about their families at that point all the time, that they're exploring the world, they're becoming their own person separate to their family, and that wasn't allowed to happen. So then that's really hard for them. But then I would say every age group had a specific issue as to why being locked away from society is a bad thing for your mental health. Like, it's just not good. When we're social people, and like the loneliness in young people are statistically lonelier than the elderly.
Really?
Yeah, which is really bad because they're around people all the time. Whereas the elderly are quite often on their own, which is why they're lonely. Whereas that's not the same as young people.
I was going to say, is that because they think they're together when they're online?
Yeah.
But they're not actually together because they're not in person. So I'd meet you on the Xbox or whatever, and you're not actually together and socializing. And then it's like, how do they socialize outside of that?
Yeah.
When they don't have a game to play with each other.
Having basic conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
But loneliness isn't about, like, I could sit in a room with 20 people and be lonely if I'm not engaged with them or have authentic connections with them that makes me feel part of that community. That's what that's about. And young people aren't. No, they're on games, but they've also had COVID to deal with, which locked them all away. And then depending what stage of their development they're at, it affected their ability or their development in that way as well. And different kids will have different challenges, and some kids will have none. That it definitely it's not good. It wasn't the right thing to do, my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So another question that came through, which was again a very interesting one, is what advice would you have people battling mental health but don't want to reach out to someone?
Okay, so self-help tools. Yeah,
self-help
tools. So like the app.
Yeah.
And what's the app name?
Melp.
Okay.
Melp Plus.
Okay.
With the plus emblem, not. So then we've got the app, and that's ideal for people like that, and they can talk.
We'll add that to the bottom of the pod.
there's hundreds of therapist tools on there. So the idea behind the app was we filmed therapists and said, if someone came to you with anxiety, what would you tell them to do? So they just give those tools across without having to have therapy, which isn't always ideal, but for people that don't want to talk, it is ideal. For people that can't afford therapy, it is ideal. And that was a thing for it. And we got it from a huge range of therapists. So we've got like counsellors and coaches and NLP therapists, and we've got yoga on there. It's a holistic way. Which way do you want to look at your mental health? So, there's not options for you. So, but there's also, even if they didn't want to download an app, there's stuff they can do online. I mean, ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, does everything now.
What tool can I do to improve my anxiety? It'll probably give you a couple of things you can do that. That will probably be all right. So it depends what level you're at. I mean, if you're at despair, you're probably going to reach out. If you're not at despair and you want to manage it yourself, there's plenty of ways to be accessing, Google something, YouTube. There's lots of ways. Obviously, our app, but.
So we're going to speak about your Melp run walk in a minute. Before we do, have you got any other questions on your side?
I think you had them
Have I got them all right? So this pod comes out in a couple of weeks' time. So I think it's probably about 3 or 4 days before your Melp run walk the 10K. So anyone watching this, you can still sign up for it probably by then. But we're going to cut this bit now and put it out a week or 2 weeks earlier. So for people, let us know what this run walk is about, when it is, where it is, and then we'll give all the details out for that as well.
Perfect, thank you. So the run is called the Melp Mindful Miles Fun Run. It's at Edenbrook Country Park in Fleet on the 1st of February. There's a 1K, a 5K, and a 10K. So it's like a community family event. So all ages can attend. We've got like kids running the 1Ks, some on the 5, but we've also got older people walking their dogs for the 1K. So it's like anyone can
be involved.
Yeah, and then runners are got more serious runners in the 10Ks and intermediates in the 5K. So we've got quite a big difference of things going on. It's cheap as chips, so we wanted to keep it super cheap this year. It's like £5 I think for the 1K, and £10 for the 5K and 15 for the 10K.
Which is cheap as well, very much.
Yeah. So you get a t-shirt and a medal. So it's
really cool. Straight in there.
Medal.
Like
So we wanted just to get as many people there as possible this year.
Brilliant.
That's the idea of it really. And then we want to do it year on year on year, make it a really fun event. And we've got some yoga going on the day. We've got some sports massage and physio. We've got face painting, some food.
Sounds like a fun.
No.
Sounds like a fun day out. So it is Sunday the 1st.
Sunday the 1st.
Sunday the 1st of February, and it is again. Where's it at?
Edenbrook
Country Park. So if you're looking for something to do with the family, click the link below. We'll post that in there. All the money goes to a good cause as well. So please, as many of you that can, get involved. Okay. Brilliant, lovely. Well, Sophie, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you very much. I think I've learned about myself, yourself, and just about, again, taking bits away from this that we can help others as well, because we all know 50 people that are struggling.
Yeah.
And like you say, if it means that we can learn to have the tools to ask them questions a bit more, then what more can we ask for? Okay?
Maybe people just watching now being like, I might have learned something new that they never knew. Someone always will, I hope so.
Anyone who's struggling, like I say, please feel free to reach out. Again, we get a lot of people drop us a DM, just wanting not to come on, but just wanting to tell their story to us, and we can send you to the right links, to the right people to speak to. And again, if you want to do it anonymously, you can drop comments anonymously on our YouTube channel, and we'll do all we can to help. But thank you very much, Sophie. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I've been Blaine Conway.
I've been Danny Parsons.
Bosh.